what is one thing that we haven't discussed yet about LPT that everybody should know?
When I first saw the model, I made the comment to Michael Valdez. I said, this is actually an abundance mindset brokerage, meaning you don't pay anything until you make money, and they continue to pour into you before that even happens.
Welcome to the Million Dollar Magic Podcast, where Jennifer Jones talks to industry leaders in the real estate world and beyond. From scaling businesses to manifesting health, wealth, and happiness, it's time to unlock your next level of success.
So why did you make the move? What's your history? Tell me about your background.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you asking. It's been an interesting journey, and now one that's taking on a whole nother chapter, a very exciting chapter with LPT. But to back it up a little bit, my background is in real estate. I studied real estate at university. I've got a dual major in finance and real estate. So I spent some of my time at school working with a couple of large developers, one being Polygon Homes, very well known out here in BC, and had a great experience with them on the sales side and the analytical side. So got to do that while I was still in school. Graduated, got my degree, and went down the finance side. And I actually worked with three of the big banks, primarily doing retail lending, residential lending, small business. So I really got to see the number side of the real estate game after being on the development side, and then I took a little bit of a left turn, and I got into the world of commodities, got into commodity trading, which was extremely exciting. I had a great time doing that. I first got into the agriculture world. So I was trading agricultural commodities across North America. So
Wow.
kind of like what you might think of, barley, wheat, corn, all of those types of commodities, all across North America. And that was a great experience, and was able to segue that into lumber trading. And I traded lumber as a supply commodity for a while. So I was in the commodity world for a decade, and the lumber trading kind of brought it back closer to real estate for me. Looking at housing start stats and understanding the data
Ah,
from that perspective. Yeah.
right.
So once I had done all of that, I really had all the pieces that I needed to start this business. And I'd worked for the developers. I had the financial knowledge and the lending knowledge, and then I had a really good understanding of the flow of the supply chain in the industry. So kind of felt like everything was there, and the stars aligned to start my real estate business. Started at the end of 2024. So really last year 2025 was my first full year in the business, and yeah, I was able to do a decent amount of deals, top 10% realtor in my board, the Fraser Valley board.
Which
Ended
is
up
which
all
is mind-blowing, by the way, right? Right out
Yeah,
of the gate.
yeah,
It's so
yeah,
incredible.
it
And
was it was it was great. Yeah.
let me ask you a question then. Where did that business come from? Like, how as a new realtor did you have that success that quickly?
Yeah, it's a great question. I wasn't sure where I was going to go with trying to get business when I first started. Am I going to have to do a bunch of advertising or social media or what have you? But I just started leveraging my network. I spent a lot of years through university and my other careers building up a good network and having good circles, let's say, and those served me well right away. I was able to either work directly with a lot of people right in my network or get referrals. And once I was able to start having real conversations, which luckily was right away, I quickly discovered that the value that you can give, whether it's somebody who has known you for years or if they've referred you to somebody, that trust is already there, and you just have to hammer it home, really deliver the value, and it just grew. I actually didn't do any paid advertising in my first year. So to be able to be a top 10% agent in my board without any paid advertising I was grateful for that. And now I'm learning about how to scale up and take things to another level. And it's been an exciting process. So yeah, I think just delivering value every time you have a conversation, doesn't matter who it's with, and good things will happen.
I love that. And
Yeah.
what's your like what was your big vision with it when you were getting into real estate? What were you thinking? Like what was your sort of end game almost?
Yeah, great question. I think part of that comes down to when I was getting licensed and figuring out where to hang my license. Learning about how we can maximize all of the hard work that we're going to put in, because agents definitely know this business is not a shortcut. There's no free lunch. It requires an insane amount of hard work. Before those who are prepared and able to do that, it can be extremely rewarding. So I was trying to figure out, where can I place myself so that my hard work is going to pay off in the best possible way. And I did hang my license with EXP for a while, and it was a great organization. I really enjoyed my time there, and I learned about how we can monetize our business in multiple ways. And we've just taken that model and that line of thinking, and applied it now to LPT, not only for myself but my team. I do have a team of 5 agents now, including myself. So it's been amazing to grow quickly and dive into the deep end right away. But just understanding how we can take the work that we're putting in and monetize that in multiple different ways, right? And a lot of us who are listening on this call might be curious about LPT. You might have already heard about some of it, but really at the end of the day, it's, you're going to make your commissions. You can get awards or stock rewards or equity shares in the company. You can participate in revenue share by helping to grow the brokerage. Like, you can really grow your business in multiple ways by doing what you're already doing. So that for me was kind of my vision, and it still is. I want to grow all three of those streams of income, and see if we can achieve some financial freedom here before long.
Now, when did you start the team and why? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about starting teams. So what was it?
The team is fairly brand new. We just started in January of this year, so we're a few months in. The team is called Nova Realty Group, for those who don't know. And yeah, like I said, it started off with myself and 3 other agents. We've since brought on one more, so there's 5 of us all together. And why do it? I think for me, I've always been interested in the concept of, camaraderie and teamwork, and really collaborating together on something. All of my previous careers, I was in that team environment, and it's kind of like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? And I've enjoyed that, and I wanted to apply that to real estate as well. So that was really the genesis of the idea for me, was to not only help myself scale, but align myself with like-minded agents that are kind of thinking about the business the same way that I am, and we can all grow together. And it's been incredibly exciting, seeing some of the agents on my team, grow from where they started, and they're doing so really quickly. I love that. I feel like I get more out of that than seeing my own success. So for me, it's been incredible as being in the team leader role to see that happen. And I will say, it's not for everybody. Being a team leader or starting your own team, it's certainly not for everybody. You might want to be on a team as a team member. You might want to be a solo agent, or you might want to do, what I've done and go down the team leader path. But you really have to think about, how do you want to conduct your business? What do you want your business to look like? And then those answers will start to become more clear. But if anybody wants to learn more about a new team and a new team leader and the trials and tribulations of that, I'm more than happy to chat about that.
I love that. And I think you do have the number one trait that I see in the top team leaders, like globally, that we've met, which is the desire to serve others and truly getting more joy from seeing other team members win than even when you're winning yourself, right?
It's 100% true. And I've noticed there's two things in this business that I get more enjoyment out of than, my own success or my own deals or whatever it may be. And those two things are, like I said, seeing the agents on my team succeed, seeing them hit a new milestone that they haven't hit before, whether it be, deal flow or volume or whatever it may be. Seeing them hit those milestones and have that success, like, brings me so much happiness, and seeing that they get motivated to try to, wake up the next day and do even better. I get incredibly fired up by that. And then the other thing is, truly seeing my clients hit certain milestones in their life and being a small part of that and being able to help with that. It's amazing, right? Whether it's a first time home buyer or a family that's growing or downsizers that are at a different stage in their life, or maybe it's an investor that is just getting started with investing in the world of real estate, or they're growing their portfolio. Seeing my clients hit those markers and being able to be a small part of helping to make that happen, it's honestly the best feeling.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And so why the move to LPT? I know what you've mentioned so far, but was there anything that really stood out, like in terms of maybe the mindset or the ideology around it?
Yeah, absolutely. The move to LPT has been amazing, and it's gone so quickly and it's growing so quickly, not only for myself and for you, but pretty much for everybody across Canada that's joined. I think for me, it became clear really early on. Seeing you and your team jumping over not too long ago, like you mentioned, just 5 weeks ago, that really grabbed my attention, and a couple of other big agents, of course, Sean Getty in Alberta, moving over, and movers and shakers in this industry like yourselves. That does grab attention. People start to notice. So I really dove into the model after that. Once I had a chance to digest the model, for me it was a no brainer almost immediately. I looked at it and I said, well, every category that I would use to evaluate being a part of a brokerage, this was the best I'd ever seen. Like whether it was monthly fees or splits or awards that you get in the form of company stock, or the revenue share model, or the technology and marketing tools that you get access to for free for the most part. I had not seen anything like it. And for me, it was just a clear no brainer at that point. And it just became a matter of, okay, let's make this transition in the most effective and efficient way. And it's been incredible. So I think looking at it kind of categorically was sort of how I approached it. And it's what I've noticed a lot of other agents are doing as well. For some agents, it might be a fees thing, right? Keeping their monthly costs down. Well, obviously LPT has no monthly fee, and they've got two different compensation models depending on what stage of your career that you're at, right? So you can choose to really, really keep your costs down, or if you're at a different stage of your career and you're growing and you're producing really well, you can choose the other compensation model, which will unlock a bunch of other awards and rewards and other opportunities for you. So I think the flexibility is something that I haven't seen before, and a lot of the agents that I'm speaking with haven't seen before. And just like LPT says, this is brokerage for life. This is your forever brokerage. There's an option for you here, whether you're just starting out, on the way up, or if you're in the twilight of your career. There's an option for you there too. So the flexibility and the versatility is second to none.
It's funny to you. I was thinking as you were saying that the reality is like agents coming over, especially into that lower tier model, like they're going to be sticky because the reality is, where do you go from there? Like, as you said, like $0 per month, right? You're getting a free listing marketing box when you put a listing up. We have buyer boxes coming out for Canada shortly. And you're getting this amazing CRM lead generation website and the training 6 days a week for our Canadians in a special Canadian area. And like, really, where do you go from there? Like, you from $0 per month and 500 a deal on the lower tier, you've got nowhere to go. So I agree. I think that brokerage for life, like that tagline for the company, makes 100% sense, right?
Absolutely, so true. And now that I've had a chance to really digest it and be on it, be in it from the inside, and also having brought on some agents right away, what I've been able to figure out is I've kind of distilled this down to a couple of key points that I think really hit home. And you can use this in your own conversations as well, and I'm sure you have. But for me, one thing that kind of sums it up really clearly is when you're not doing deals, you're going to be saving more money at LPT. And when you are doing deals, you're going to be making more money at LPT. So when you have
Love
that
that.
kind of setup, I mean, what, like you said, where do you go? What else do you do? It's really a win-win.
That
And
is
they've been
so
able
good.
yeah, and they've been able to achieve that because of the flexibility and versatility in the model. And it's like I said, it's been second to none. So, actually, you know what? I can share this story. I've been able to prove this model out pretty quickly with some of the agents that we brought on right away. So I had one agent that joined from a traditional brokerage, and he's in the twilight of his career. He's been in the industry for decades, and he said to me, I don't know how many more deals I have left in me. I'm not going to be renewing my license after this, or maybe once more. And I'd really like to save some fees. And I said, okay, well, let's take a look. What are you paying right now? And he was paying $444 a month at his old traditional brokerage for doing no deals. That was just month to month.
Wow.
And I said, wow, okay, well, let's take a look at LPT. And obviously we factored in what he's going to pay to his board and all of those things. And if he does not do any deals, if he just rides off into the sunset and that's it, he'd pay $123 a month by being at LPT. And that's just his board fee. So
Just
he'd
as
be
perfect.
saving he'd be saving 320 he is saving $321 a month just for coming over. And then
Amazing.
we had the next conversation, and we said, well, what do you pay if you do a deal? If a deal comes to you from one of your past clients, what would you pay at your old traditional brokerage? He said, well, I pay a $500 deal fee. And I said, okay, well, with LPT, yes, you're still going to pay that $500 deal fee. However, you've now been saving $321 a month all the way along, and you're going to get equity shares in the company even for doing that first deal. So you're no further behind. In fact, you're miles ahead, whether, again, like I said, if you don't do any deals or if you do. If he doesn't do any deals, he's saving if he doesn't do any deals, he's saving over $300 a month. And if he does do a deal, even just one, he'll pay the same deal fee that he had at his traditional brokerage, and he's going to get shares in the company on top.
I love it. And if he ends up somehow doing 10 deals at 500 a deal, he's capping out at 5,000 and then keeps 100% of his money,
And
which
then
is
he keeps 100% of his
amazing.
money. So that model was proven with an agent at that stage. If they're just starting or maybe just finishing and they don't think there's a lot of deals there, it's a great model to wind up your career or wrap up your career,
I
right?
love it.
The other model that I proved out was a really productive agent, right? An
Ah,
agent that we just recently brought on um, was on his way to doing, well over 40 deals this year with his previous brokerage. And we looked at that model and we said, okay, you're going to be on a somewhat similar split. You're going to be saving monthly fees, but the shares that you're going to get for crossing that 35 deal mark, and he will hit it, he'll hit it very soon, and being able to be in that black badge category, the amount of shares he's going to get, the amount of equity stock he's going to get is incredible. And he's a pretty marketing heavy guy. So having the $15,000 marketing match credit once he hits black badge on top of all the shares that he's going to get, there's just nothing else out there that touches it for him. So in a very short amount of time, I've been able to prove out this model with agents that are at the very start or the very end of their careers, and agents that are just hitting their prime and really finding their stride. There's a model for them too. There's a model for everybody.
I love that. And I think even, as you're a team coming over, we're a big team that came over. And I think one of the things, from a team perspective too, is the idea of those no minimums, right? To most brokerages, the team lead has to take a minimum of usually about 25% in order to qualify for being a team. Whereas LPT, it's zero. You can take zero from an agent and still have them be part of your team if you were doing it on one-off deals, or you have different things set up with different people. So I thought that was really great. The other thing we've done is like literally picked up the free listing marketing packs. We pay the 59 bucks Canadian for shipping. We have one spot we can put our logo on, and we've we're using that material even within our team. So being able to save yourself a lot of marketing, like print budget. So I think from a team perspective, it absolutely makes sense. Plus, you're putting all your team members, if they, want that lower cap, they're only going to pay $500 a deal, which is so good. And I think the other group to look at would be independent brokerages, right? And we've talked to a lot of them. We have a lot of them that have started to come over. And I think looking at, you know, independent brokerages and most teams right now through North America are not doing as well. The market had shifted, 4 years, we've seen correction and, struggling a little more financially. So this takes the pressure off your agents, but it also gives you the ability as the brokerage owner to also be set up where you're receiving rev shares. So you're still being compensated going forward with those agents that would have been part of your brokerage. But we take away all the expenses, right? And you don't have to deal with the trust accounts anymore and all the risk. And, in BC, all the managing brokers that don't want that job because of their personal liability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just feel like, this really checks the boxes for everybody: single agent, teams, independent brokerage.
Brokerages, yeah.
Like it's really, it's an opportunity for everybody. And I just think it can take a lot of financial pressure off. So it's something you should be looking at. And quite frankly, I believe that if you are a team lead or an independent brokerage owner and you don't look at the model and one of your agents does, you're going to end up losing a lot of agents potentially to LPT regardless. So I would want to get ahead of it and be the leader and be the one who's looking for a solution for your people right now.
And this is something that I've noticed as well in the conversations that I've been having, and it's organic. I've had so many agents reaching out, DMing, texting, or calling, saying, "Hey, tell me more." Like I keep hearing LPT everywhere. Like what's the deal? And my first response is, well, there's a reason why you're hearing about it everywhere, and you're going to keep hearing about it. But that's a really interesting point about who this model is going to work for. And like you said, it works for every level. And I've been telling a lot of the agents I've been speaking with, hey, show me the model that you're working with right now, and here's the LPT model. And honestly, if your model is better, like I'd love to see it, I'd love to know.
Yes, please.
And yeah, like it'd be great, right? And I have yet to see a model that's better. And further to that, after I've had a coffee or a phone call or a Zoom with a bunch of agents, I say, hey, listen, how does LPT's model stack up against the one that you currently have? Like I want to hear them say it. And I have not had a single agent yet, not one, say the model that I have is better. Not
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And even myself coming over to LPT, I didn't expect it to be such a landslide. I didn't expect it to be so head and shoulders above anything else that I've ever seen, and apparently anybody else has too. So that's been pretty cool. And you hit on another point that I wanted to touch on with you, and you're the perfect person to answer this. The growth overall across the entire country, I mean across North America, but especially in Canada lately, has been mind-boggling. Like it is absolutely insane the amount of growth that we're seeing. I think one of the known facts, the well-known facts, is LPT Realty is the fastest growing real estate brokerage in history, all time. And I'd like you to maybe touch on a little bit more of that growth factor. What have we seen in the States the last couple of years, and more particularly, what kind of growth rates have we seen in Canada just in the last couple of months?
Yeah. Well, I think we have, since we've come on board, I think we were around 200, something like that within Canada. We are quickly approaching 1,000. And I was just pulling the stat because I know Robert Palmer had posted for Real Trends. They posted some stats yesterday. I just want to make sure that we get this right. Did you see those?
I
Um,
don't think so.
okay, so they were talking about how basically we have increased in terms of agent count. We've got one of them here. So for LPT Realty, we are number one for agent count in terms of growth. we grew in 2 years 169%. Okay.
Wow.
So we are now like within all of North America, just touching 24,000 agents. Um, but if we look at that in 2023, we had 7,800 agents in the US, right? So this
Wow.
is not even 3 years, and we're at almost 24,000. And that's, with obviously Michael Valdez at the helm,
Of
former
course.
CEO of Sotheby's, Reology, and our senior growth officer for EXP, grew us from 22,000 in 2020 to 89,000 in 24 different countries. So I thought that was a really neat stat. The other one they pulled was on the transaction side. And we've actually had, I don't have that one here, but we've had the most growth of any brokerage per agent, with the highest increase in agent count of any brokerage. That was the other category that we were number one in. And that's super, super significant. So yeah, I love those stats. I'll send them over and you can post them up into,
Absolutely. Yeah. And really it comes down to numbers don't lie.
that's
There's a reason that the growth rate is what it is. There's a reason that the number of agents that are joining is what it is. And it's everything that we've talked about. It's the versatility and the flexibility of the model. It's the upside that you can participate in, and I think that kind of leads me into the one of the biggest reasons why I joined and brought my whole team over was that upside, the opportunity to be a part of something on the ground level, to be an early adopter of something that is clearly already showing it's taking off and is going to continue to take off. And that opportunity to be part of something from, as close to day one as possible was really enticing. And I think a lot of agents should be really looking at this, right? We take a look at not just real estate brokerages, but other companies, in North America, and look at the history. People that were a part of something early, the early adopters, were able to reap some incredible rewards in a lot of cases. And I see that being the exact same with LPT. To be able
exactly.
to be a part of this early and get yourself into the culture and grow with the brokerage, the opportunity and the upside of that is just incredibly, incredibly huge. And you're actually a living proof of this, right? Like you mentioned, the agent count that you've been able to accumulate and help by bringing over to LPT. Maybe you could touch on that a little bit more, because I know you mentioned you had a large team with EXP. You still have a large team now, but what was your revenue share business looking like previously, and what does it look like now at LPT?
For sure. So when I left EXP, I was at 100 agents, like within my organization, and I'd probably lost almost 100 over that 6 years I was there. Like we'd bring them on, train agents, they'd go to a discount brokerage, a few left the business, and so coming into LPT, so let's say we're 5 or 6 weeks in right now. It might be 6 weeks. I lose track of time. It's so busy. And as of a couple of days ago, my agent count was, oh my goodness, 378, right?
Wow.
So that is in a very short period of time. And what I like to say is it's not us out there hardcore selling this model. These are people coming to us that are interested in the opportunity. And when you put the two models side by side, or any of the other models for that effect, right? You put any of the models and line them up against LPT kind of wins hands down, which is why they've seen the growth, which is why they've increased from 7,800 agents to 24,000 in such a short period of time, right? Because when you put them side by side, all the agents are going, well, this just makes more sense. And what I hear a lot of, which is so funny, on these model calls, is like, but it's free. What? Where's the catch?
What's the catch?
Yeah, I
Exactly.
hear a lot of
Yeah.
like, But what's the catch?"
Yeah.
Like, that seems too good to be true. Well, I can tell you, after having been here for, 6 weeks, um, it is 100% true. There are no like, weird little loopholes and things like that. And when we present the model, and I know Dan does the same, we're 100% transparent in like anything you would pay, anything that's going to happen. So, yeah, it clearly is just a model that agents had been wanting that hadn't been created yet. So when Robert Palmer created this back 4 years ago, I think he really looked at the other models that were already amazing out there and then said, how do we improve this? And how do we also improve this for the adjustment in the market? And I really feel he nailed it. Um, because that's why we have the growth we do. If we were out there peddling a difficult model, that would be showing up in terms of our own personal growth with our organizations, right?
And it's like you said, the model truly speaks for itself. And the easiest type of product to sell is the one that sells itself, right? And yeah, my story is a lot like yours. I'm not out there, making a bunch of calls. I've got people, agents calling me, DMing me. Okay, let's go for coffee, and I'm happy to lay out the model for you exactly as it is, and they're able to see it for themselves, and it's a no-brainer for them as quickly as it became a no-brainer for me, and I'm sure almost everybody else that's joined LPT. So yeah, that part of it is really really interesting, and I think you hit on a point there that I wanted to really hammer home. Like let this sink in for anybody who might not have caught that. 100 agents in your rev share organization in around 6 years, and you've been now 6 weeks, 6 years to 6 weeks, and you've gone from 100 agents to over 300. Like yeah. So I really want that to sink in for anybody who's listening. Like the opportunity and the upside of being a part of something so early and something that is growing so quickly, and for good reason, because the model does stand up when you stack it up against anything else. It is something that you really need to take a look at if you want to be a part of the upside that's here.
One of the other things you touched on before for a minute was the culture part of it. And I do think that because like Canada is pretty new, like, they've got some well-established culture already within the States. But for Canada, being those newcomers, we've been setting the culture and it really is beautiful. So we have an LPT school platform where we have our Canadian training 60 days a week. We have a lot of our top Canadians that are training in there. We'll be grabbing Dan out to train in there soon. We just let people get acclimatized first and then drag them in. And AI trainings, luxury trainings, women's groups, 0 to 14 deals, 15 plus, building teams, revenue share, building orgs, all of those things. And then 6 days a week, also lofty trainings, teaching you how to use the platform, both paid and free, and how to do deals. We support you, how to get paid, right? All of these important things.
All these
I
things.
just find the culture and the people are amazing. So they have a really neat culture within LPT that's a bit different than most brokerages, where we cannot offer, like, let's say we build an organization. We can't offer our organization something that is not offered to everybody within the company. So it keeps it a very like open, lovely space with no siloing, as it's called, so to speak, right? And I think that's another beautiful thing is that you can come in, and if you want to contribute and you want to be part of, running trainings and pouring into agents, we 100% want you. If you want to be part of it and just show up to the trainings and learn off other amazing, incredible agents that are pouring in, we want you, right? And then so many in-person events planned for 2026. And we have Michael Valdez flying up for a whole bunch of those. So just really, really exciting times. And I think there's just a general kind of cool energy buzz about being a part of something that's new here in Canada like that.
For sure, and to expand on that culture piece, I've been able to see it for myself and my team. Bringing all of us over, it's been honestly incredible. Like to actually see it in practice, the no silos culture. If you have access, if somebody has access to something, everybody has access to it. It's amazing, and that it's pure collaboration. Like, it's collaboration the way that it was meant to be. And I've been explaining it to people that that may be coming from a silo style brokerage, or they may have experienced that. You don't have to have that feeling when you join LPT of, am I in the right room or the wrong room? Did I join the right room or the wrong room? You know what I mean? And that, like, not having that thought in the back of your head is just really liberating and powerful, because you know that you're in the right room. You're at LPT, you're in the right room. You've got access to anybody you want, any agent, anybody on the brokerage support side. You've got full access. And like you said, being able to shape the culture in Canada, because we are still fairly new, is really exciting. We just had a BC LPT meeting this week, and Kate Hardy, the managing broker of BC, she's incredible. She actually invited me to be a guest speaker at the BC meeting, and she told me 5 minutes before we hopped on, she said, "Hey, congratulations, you're the first ever guest speaker for an LPT BC meeting." And I'm like,
Love it.
wow, like, first ever, like, that's amazing. So being a part of this so early, and being a small part of shaping the community and the culture is really powerful and really special. And I'm super happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we're so blessed and excited to have you here, Dan, because you're an absolute rock star. The what you've achieved so quickly is absolutely mind-blowingly amazing. And, I would say to you as an agent out there, if you are, newer to the business, or if you're an experienced agent that wants to start team or do more, you definitely want to be reaching out to Dan and all of his partners and getting involved with them. They have so many amazing, cool things going on and so much knowledge. I just think, this is the time that you want to jump in and take the opportunity to start to build with them while we're still small, right? You have all the upside left, guys, all the upside.
All the upside is still to go. It's still early. You haven't missed
Literally.
the train, but get on it right away. And you kind of hit on a good point. My real estate coach, actually, and for those that don't have a real estate coach, I highly recommend you get one, or be a part of a community like LPT, where you can get coaching and mentorship and guidance. One of my mentors in the industry, he told me something early on, that the biggest opportunity, or the biggest upside, or the biggest reward in your career is right around that corner that you're most afraid to look. And that has stuck with me since day one. And I think LPT is no different. The biggest career changing or career defining move for you in the real estate business could be right around the corner. And have a coffee, have a phone call, look into the model for yourself. Just take a look and ask yourself if it might help you take your business or your team's business to another level.
I love
Highly
that.
encourage it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I really, really appreciate your time. This has been awesome. You've been so instrumental for me and my team with our transition to LPT, and you're just an incredible role model for anybody in the real estate industry to look after. So I really appreciate you. What is one thing that we haven't discussed yet about LPT that everybody should know?
So I think the one or the last point I would make about LPT is that when I first looked at this model with Michael Valdez, I actually said, this is an abundance mindset brokerage. This brokerage asks you for nothing until you actually make money. So they pour into us by giving us the Lofty lead generation website. They give us these free listing boxes. All you pay for is the shipping, and it has everything in it to help you market that listing. So it's just a different kind of energy around it, right? And I've always believed in the law of reciprocity. Give before you receive. You will receive 100-fold of what you pour into others. And that is exactly what this brokerage is. So what about you? What's your last words?
Yeah, if I can kind of distill it down to a really simple thought, it's something that I mentioned earlier. It's, if you're not doing deals, I'd be willing to bet you're going to save more money at LPT. And when you are doing deals, I'd be willing to bet you're going to make more money. And on top of that, you have the opportunity to be a part of something that is growing insanely quickly. And the upside of that is who knows what it's going to be. And you get to be a part of what I think is the next evolution of real estate in this country and possibly around the world. So, I mean, when you put all those things together, you can't lose.
Can't lose.
Yeah.
It's the winner.
It's the winner.